Welcome to Life Coaches Unfiltered, where Desiree, Dory, and Michelle, three life coaches, are here to answer the questions you have, but we're afraid to ask. No fluff, no filters, just real talk to help you navigate life's big challenges. Let's dive in.
Hey, we are back for another episode 5, season 2 of Life Coaches Unfiltered. And today we are talking about growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. But first, you guys know what we're going to do. We're just going to do a little check-in. So we did our check-in before the check-in.
We did. Yes,
Getting ready to...
We filter the unfiltered.
Anyway, just griping about middle age and midlife
I
fun.
know.
But I did see 3 deer in my yard this morning, y'all, and my dog did not lose it. Like she didn't even notice. And I was like, how do I notice the deer and you don't notice them? But yeah, I love she just must have been off duty. I didn't get the memo that she had a PTO day today.
That's so funny. So how is everyone doing?
Yeah,
I'm a little knackered. I just
knackered.
That's
it's a
such a British
British
terminology.
saying, isn't it? Yes. Um I was in North Carolina this weekend
Oh,
with
nice.
some friends. Yeah, they were actually college friends of my late husband, and which sounds weird saying that. My late husband. Um, but yeah, they were college friends of his, and they just adopted me when he and I were dating, and just were like, and so they would have a yearly get together. So we went there, and we didn't get to do anything on the water, of course, because of the hurricane that came through. But um, the water was very choppy. There was no damage or anything like that. The water was high. The ocean was very, very choppy. The rip tides were pretty heavy. So we didn't do that, but we went to a music festival they were cooking fish. It was really it was a good time, but I didn't get back till like 11 o'clock last night. So I'm
Oh,
kind of
wow. Oof.
dragging a little this morning.
Ay, ay,
Yeah.
ay.
Yeah, that sounds like a good weekend
Mm,
though.
it
Yeah.
really was. What'd you do?
Went to a birthday party. It's just so funny, like going out and, going to clubs or whatever. I mean, I don't mind doing it once in a while, but, a good house birthday party is always fun, and
Mm.
you got food, you got alcohol, got great conversations, and then there was a photo booth, so, there was lots of pictures being taken.
I want to see these photo booth pictures.
So yeah, house parties are I think are the rage now. I think when you get to midlife, house parties, I like house parties.
I mean, you could always sneak upstairs and take a nap. That's what Desi would do.
That's
That's
hilarious.
very on brand for me. Yeah, I'm like, oh, I could just go sneak a little nap in the guest bedroom. That's why I would like house parties. Although when I would throw a house party in high school, y'all, I would get tired by like 10 o'clock and I kick everybody out. I was the worst host. Don't ever, this is why I don't do house parties because I get tired and I'm like, why are all these people in my house and they will not leave?
I'll tell you, I used to throw some major parties back in the day, and one of my good friends was visiting, and she's just at like midnight. She yelled out, "You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here," and just started like ushering everybody out the door. And
Oh
so,
my God. That sounds like my husband. That sounds like my husband. He's like, what time are you gonna put on the invite? Like from when to when? And then as soon as like the clock strikes the time that people need to leave, he's like, all right, guys, it's time. Everyone get going.
I
Like, I
I
want my
love
house
that
back.
though. Yeah, I love that. At one of the parties, we actually had somebody in my kitchen making coffee. And she was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "I'm making coffee." She said, nope, nope, you have to go."
I I have a friend in my friend group and she'll frequently host game nights at her house. And then at like she loves when I go because I'm always like 9:30. My little Fitbit said it's time to get ready for bed. I'm leaving. And so, but like sometimes she'll look at me and just like, would everybody go home? And I'm like, okay, guys, it's time to go. Like, usually one person can start the like, yeah, but sometimes people just don't get a hint. And I'm like, listen, go to Waffle House if you need to stay out. Like, Waffle House is open all the time.
That's so funny. How was your weekend, Desi?
It was
With,
very quiet and
nice.
it's fine. I went to somebody's house and we played this horse game, which is absolutely no skill. No skill. But anyway, I whatever. I would like to get into I was talking to somebody about this weekend. Like game nights are tricky because some people like really skilled games and then some people are overly competitive. I was in this group of like overly competitive people for a while that we played games and I was like, I will never play Monopoly again. Ever. Like I want to donate that stupid game. Like I why do I even have it? Like anyway, so you and then because like if they don't like the same games that you like, then it just sucks, you know?
Yeah.
Like Cards Against Humanity is fun. It requires no skill, really, not a lot
It's
of
So
skill.
hilarious.
fun.
It's
But
so much fun and it's so hilarious.
then
It
it gets
really is.
old after a while. Have you ever played a Cards Against Humanity and you're like, I'm ready. I'm ready for something else. Like I got to
Um,
that point a couple times and I was like,
Maybe.
oh,
Don't they have a variety? Don't they have a quite a few versions of Cards Against Humanity?
they
I
do.
think
But I
so.
don't know. Sometimes I want to be like I want to play like a strategy game or I don't know. The horse game is fun, but it just requires no skill. And I'm like, "Eh, what's the point? Anyway, but yeah. So did that
Maybe
and
we need to
then
fix your mindset on this. Ha ha.
Mavis now.
Yeah.
Nah. All right, so let's good segue, Michelle. Good one.
Good
All right.
job.
So I was consulting with
Oh,
the Googles before today when prepping for today's episode and I was like, where did this whole growth and fixed mindset came from? It was a theory by Carol Dweck. And it's whether conscious or subconscious, our most basic beliefs strongly suggest or strongly affect what we want and whether we succeed in getting it. Much of what we think we understand of our personality comes from our mindset. This both propels and prevents us from fulfilling our potential. And
mm.
then I was like, I read this book, Hidden Potential, that came out a couple years ago by Adam Grant. And I was like, that was a fascinating book. And I was like, oh, interesting. We should talk about that. So, yeah. So, what do you guys kind of like? Let's talk about for people that are not familiar with that was like high level, um, kind of, you know, I don't know, academic version of what growth and fixed mindset is. So, let's talk real talk about how do you pick up if you're in a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? What are the like indicators to y'all?
I Go ahead, Michelle.
For me, it's the negative thoughts of I can't do this, like, or I'm not, and that to me is just like, okay, it's done. That's me being very kind of narrow-minded because I know everyone's not perfect and I know everyone doesn't know everything or can do everything because I suck at playing golf, even though physical education teacher like to think that I can play most sports. But, I try. I try. But some people are just like, yeah, no, I can't do that.
Mhm.
And when I hear my clients say, I cannot do that, I have to ask, why? Is it the fact that someone has told you that you can't do it? Is it the fact that you have not tried to do it? Is it the fact that you are a perfectionist and you don't think that you're going to do it right? Why do you think you cannot do this? Like I never believed that I would ever open up a business. As a school teacher, I'm going to do that for life. I can't leave teaching because that's all I know. And people are in that mindset of, no, this is all I know. I can't do anything else, but you can.
Yeah.
So it's just that shift of let me try it. And some people are scared to try because if they fail, then we people think badly about themselves about failing, which we all have to fail because life is messy. Like life is not that straight line and it's going to be perfect because there's going to be, oh, it's going to go up and then it's going to go round in circles and then it's going to go straight again and then it's going to come down. So, it's messy. But when you just kind of, I feel like that narrow-mindedness of I've got to stay in this lane and I cannot verge off. That to me is that very fixed mindset. And I like helping people when they want to go off go off the tracks a little bit.
That's very well said. I think, of course, I deal with that a lot in the hypnotherapy world, right? People
Mm.
come in with a fixed mindset or curious to change. And there's that, you're right, there's this fine line of where you want to change something, and then there's the can you change it? I absolutely believe you can always change it, but it's this thing of like, are you willing to like let go of
Mm.
what you may already know, or what that unknown of that? Because there's this period of like, it's funny, I was working on I'm doing a speech. I'm speaking at a Rotary Club next month, and I was working on my speech this past weekend, and it is about the gray area. And there's like this gray area between when you know that you want to change something and it actually changes, and there's like this space of uncomfortableness. But I think, yeah, the fixed mindset is I can't do it. I shouldn't do it. I've been taught that this isn't the way it's supposed to go. And
Mhm.
then there's the growth mindset that says anything is possible and I can do anything. And I find, even with myself, knowing everything that I know about mindset, I hop back and forth myself all throughout the day. Writing this speech, I myself was going, how am I gonna remember this? How am I gonna remember this? Oh my God, I can't remember this. I'm 50, 51 years old. Oh my God, I can't, that kind of thing starts going in my mind. I was like, no, 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 no. You know how to do this. This is something you're passionate about. And so what if you don't remember all the words? It's just speak from here. So it just is I don't know. I love this topic, and I know I just rambled. I'm gonna have some more coffee. Desiree, what do you think?
So a fixed mindset is like how it's like this is the way it always will be.
Mm.
And it's like the clues for me are these words of certainty of always, never. I'm, like a lot of what Michelle said of like I can't do this. And then the growth mindset is it's not, I don't necessarily think that you have to be all the way like just like with toxic positivity, we are talking about it being a continuum or a spectrum. I believe that it's like that with growth mindset too. And if we think about when babies start to walk, they kind of teeter and totter for a little bit and their steps are unstable. And so you can step into that growth mindset on shaky legs. You don't have to be a sprinter and go forward, but it's being open to the idea that there can be a different outcome than what you believe or have expected or experienced in your life. And so that to me is it's incredibly powerful, but it's also uncomfortable because we get this comfort by having this perceived certainty about how the world works and what you can achieve. And growth is uncomfortable. And sometimes when you are growing, things need to fall away in order to make room for that new growth. And that's painful. A lot of times that's painful. I was thinking about this last night, like all the things that, your new life is going to cost you your old life. Like I've seen that like reel on Instagram, like your new life is going to cost everything in your old life and are you ready to let it go? And yeah, I mean that's true, but like you can let it go in pieces.
Yeah.
You don't, babies don't become marathon runners overnight.
Yeah. That's
So
a great
yeah.
analogy. I like the fact that you use the baby piece because I think that's really spot on. Because yeah, they're crawling, then they get up, then they fall down. And that's kind of what we do in life, even though it can be painful, but again, we got to pick ourselves up and dust ourselves off and try again and put our big girl pants on and if we want to make that change,
Yeah.
if we
It's, do you
want,
want it? Do you want it? It was
yes.
funny you were saying that. I was thinking about my nephew when he first started out. He scooched around on his butt. So he didn't even like, he just kind of did that. And sometimes we do that. Sometimes we just scooch around on our butts and just kind of like, but it does what you're right. I mean, and it is, I think we sometimes have this all or nothing mindset, like thought pattern of like, and the perfection kicks in and all of these different things. And change is messy. It is so messy and it is uncomfortable, but it's how do you want it? Do you really want it? And then what are you willing to do to make it happen? And I think that sometimes people expect it just to be magic and overnight. I'm going to be a changed person. It can happen fast, but it just, and it takes, I think we know as coaches too. I think sometimes people come in working with us as coaches and expect us to do our thing. I know in hypnotherapy, I tell people, I'm like, I wish I could wave a magic wand for you and just make it happen. But that's not the way that this works. It works to us together making this happen. And I think that people, when they hear that, sometimes it's scary. They expect to come into us as a coach and go, make it all better, make us give me what I want. It's like, well, you're here and we meet halfway. And sometimes, you're going to meet me a little further than I'm going to meet you. I'm just here to guide you. You're here to do the work.
Mhm. Yeah.
I I feel like people, we've talked a lot about do you want it? But I think a lot of people are stuck at the do you believe it's possible? And sometimes that is the first step is examining that belief of, because especially people that are stuck in their victimhood will sit there and say, "Yeah, I want it." But then when you start to ask them other questions, they don't believe it's possible.
Yeah.
So I think you've got to have pieces of both of those in order to really give you the motivation to move forward.
I can work with the do you think it's possible? For me, part of what I do, absolutely I can work with that. But they've got to at some point be willing to kind of let go of that belief, whatever it is that they were taught or, ancestral, like uh, what you believe, all of those things, they've got to be willing to let it go.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So Michelle, how have you seen a difference in your mindset from like early life versus,
You know what? I was on the same wavelength. I was like, I want to ask everyone this question, but
oh
you
God.
asked it. And I was thinking, I was just like, I'm like, what have people done, in their lives, us, from the fix to the growth. And so you took the words right out of my mouth there, because I was on the same wavelength. I would say, I mean, yes, because again, I never thought I would get out of the teaching profession. I thought I'm a teacher. That's it. That's all I know. That's all I can do. Um, until I was just like, all right, I can't do this anymore. I need to change something. And yeah, it was scary because I was like, well, what do I do? You know, if you think about when we went to university or college and the jobs that were back then to the jobs that are now. I mean, look, we're coaches. I don't remember there being coaches back then. There was therapists and that's about it. Um, so yeah, I feel that I have to I have to have a growth mindset with my business because my business is evolving. It was one thing and now it's kind of changed a little bit and I have to kind of grow with that. And me as a person. as you say, Dory, I go back and forth like, can't do this. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. And this is how I'm going to prove to myself that I can do it. Doesn't mean to be perfect, but you know, with making those changes in my business, because I'm just like, why do I have to make these changes? But it's just like, but this is what happens when you go through your business. Things change and you have to move with the time, so to speak. Um, so yeah, I feel that I have to have a growth mindset because life is different from, 2, 3 years ago to now. And what I did back then is not going to work now. And yeah, I, yeah, I would say it's important to grow. It's definitely important to grow, and I'm still growing. It's not going to stop. It's
I
not
think
going to stop.
life is about growth.
I have a friend that says when you stop learning, you're dead.
Oh,
I mean, it's that's what it is. I think that's why we're here, actually, is just to learn and to continue to grow. What about you, Desi? What about your
I think probably I always joke that Al-Anon was my gateway drug. Um to like, I'd read these personal development books, but I think deep down I wasn't getting any traction, but I saw that, that people had changed. Like I didn't like who I was becoming. I was changing in a way I didn't like. Becoming more anxious and controlling and, fearful, and I was like I don't like the person I am.
mhm,
And so I had to be open to a different mindset. And Al-Anon helped me to take those steps. That was me being the little child learning to walk in a different way. And then once you start to question the way that you've lived your life your whole life and all the beliefs that you held as absolute truth, it starts to crack the door, and then it flings wide open and you're just like, what the hell? Then you start to think like but I mean, it doesn't make everything wildly easy. That's the interesting part is like the whack-a-moles are going to continue to whack-a-mole. They're going to pop up, right? And so it doesn't mean that just changing your mindset is not this magic potion that you drink and then life is amazing. It is a constant exercise in belief in yourself, you know, belief in your skills, continual growth, learning, sometimes learning by failing, and examining. So, I mean, that's like, I grew up mostly, I feel like I got my mindset from, it was a product of my parents and how they grew up and like that kind of, watching my mom's behavior. But I had a phone call with a very angry family member this weekend who was frustrated with some technological stuff and thought that maybe I could help them. And I was like, dude, you can do this. Like stop saying that you can't figure this out, because the difference in people that figure out these technological spaghetti balls of spaghetti are people that set it down and come back to it with a cool mindset. But losing your shit is not going to help you because you're not thinking in your best mind. But they couldn't see that, right?
mhm,
Mhm.
And they were beating themselves up, and I was like, I'm not going to participate in the beating of yourself up. I'm not. I'm not going to agree with you, but I'm also not going to soothe you because you got to figure out how to do that stuff yourself. I would have responded very differently, 5, 10 years ago. But yeah, I mean, it is a, it, I'm glad to be here. And I think that midlife a lot of times is an awakening for people. So
it is.
Dory, let's
So
talk.
I my I was thinking like going back in my mind going, okay, well, I of course the moment I decided to get sober, but it started before that. I was about to be 40 and I was in a marriage that was we'd been together 8 years, and I was like, I don't want to be 40 and be married to this person. And I felt like all of a sudden like this, like I couldn't breathe. I felt smothered. I felt like this is not, I don't know, there was something that I think that an awakening in a way that just something woke up inside of me and said, this is not good enough. This is, I always say this is not a dress rehearsal, y'all. This is the real deal. We're in it. And all the actors are on the stage. Let's go. And I just went, this is not, I don't want to look back at 50, 60 and be with this person anymore. He doesn't suit me. And then, then, then that was like the string that pulled on the sweater and the whole sweater fell apart because it led into dating someone that was, I don't want to almost said he was a horrible person, but he's not a horrible person. He just was not the person for me and he had issues. But that's what got me to being getting sober was that too. It was that enough is enough. And I think that, you hear people say rock bottom a lot when it's about getting sober. I think it's just where you have this thing inside of you that just goes, enough is enough. I'm done. I'm willing to when I got sober, I was like, I'm willing to do whatever y'all say. If you tell me to go stand on my head in a corner, I'm going to go do it because I know that my ways have not worked in getting what I need. So show me how to do this. And so I think it's a surrender of sorts where you just go, I don't have all the answers, but I also know that I don't want to do this way anymore. I want something different for myself. I surrender to the fact that I'm ready to go with whatever the flow of life, if that makes sense. I feel like I just rambled.
No, I think I love the word that the fact that you use surrender because you do have to surrender, and and I always feel that people always have to go to rock bottom or to the enough is enough. And I think I've said it many a times, that pressure cooker, when that pressure cooker just blows, it's just like, and I want to do something. But why can't we do something before it blows? But it's hard. It's hard. And
Yeah.
I can safely say I got to a point where I was just like, I don't recognize who I am anymore. What's going on? This is not the Michelle. This is not the bubbly Michelle who is full of life and is the socialite because I've kind of locked myself away. And no, this is not me. It's not me. And I
Or
need to get help and I need to make these changes
I
because
think deep down who you are. There's something inside of you that deep down knows who you are, and all these wonderful things that you're here to be. And there's just like this little whisper that sometimes happens. It goes, this is not where we're supposed to be. This is not what we're supposed to be doing. This is not the person we're supposed to be with. And you just kind of hear it. And at some point it screams but Michelle, what you're saying is like, why can't we listen to the whisper and do something about it instead of waiting? They say when there's a window that's open, you have to wait till you're shoved through it before you like actually do something about it. Like somebody's in a bad job, right? That just is like, I hate my job. I hate my job. I want to do something different. I want to do something different. And then they get laid off or, and they're like, oh my God, but it was that little shove that you need to maybe go explore to do something that you really have been, you know, craving to do. It's a very interesting thing.
yeah.
I think pain is one hell of a motivator.
Mm.
And we have to reach some kind of, if we think about it like a teeter-totter, you have to reach some level of pain for the seesaw to drop. And you'd be like, okay, this is enough. I'm in enough pain to make to make a shift. But I think it's super scary for so many people to even consider that. They might get laid off and think, well, I've always been a teacher. I've got to go find another teaching job. And so it takes a lot of courage to be open to the idea that things can change. And it takes tremendous courage to take steps in a new direction.
Does.
Especially when it comes to like finances, right? And you think about money and how that could change it. I think about money like the thread through relationships. How many people stay in bad relationships because they're like, well, I've heard so many women that are like, I can't leave him because I don't know what I'll do financially. The same thing with a job. What am I going to do? Am I going to go like, I've always wanted to open a goat farm. I haven't, not me, but if someone said I wanted to, have a goat farm, then there's this fear of then how do I get the money? How do I do this? And I think that that is also something that just kind of ties us into staying the same as that fear of being destitute.
And the interesting thing is, you, a lot of times we find a way. Like, I have seen the dramatic effects of divorce, especially on women. Women seem to bear the brunt of that financial hit. And I was even thinking about this morning, that how comfortable life is with two incomes. Like we were dinks, double income, no kids, right? It was great. It was a great life. Very comfortable financially. And I don't have that anymore. So it's scary, but in the same sense, I look at it wasn't feasible for me to stay in that relationship. And so what I'm being called to do is figure it out.
Mhm.
And have, sometimes you got to jump off the cliff and you're figuring it out on the way down. Sometimes you find a staircase and you're like, "Oh, this is nice." I thought it was a 300-foot drop. It was only 15 feet. And then there's some stairs here, right? Um, that was so nice of the person that came before me to leave me a little path. So, like be open to surprise and delight, but it takes tremendous courage to be open to another way. But it's
Mhm.
also, and it's freedom, y'all. Like there's some freedom in there. It's courageous. It can be scary, but it can be freeing. But this is where we said it on here before today. Life is messy.
Mhm.
Now I have that George Michael song in my head. Freedom.
Freedom.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right, because not that I want to talk about myself, but I jumped off a cliff. Me coming out of teaching was jumping off the cliff. And did I have any savings? No. Was I miserable in my job? Yes. Did I know what I wanted to do? No. But I decided to do something. Um, yeah, and it was messy, it was stressful, but as you said, it was very freeing. It was very freeing because that whole weight of, oh, I don't have to write report cards anymore. Oh, I don't have to sit into bullshit meetings that don't pertain to me, and all the red tape that comes with going into a school and being in a classroom. And then yeah, the teaching aspect is never left, because I feel that with the coaching, I'm still helping, I'm still teaching, not to the point of I'm telling you what to do, but there's the conversations that happen. So yeah, that was scary, jumping off that cliff. And also getting married. That was definitely because I came off the single bus, and I was on the single bus for a long time. And you know getting married and then being a stepmom, that's a big jump, and
That
Dora, you know that as well.
that is probably like one of the most terrifying things for me was when, especially the first time I met the girls, I was that's a big change. You go from being a single person who's never had kids, and then I always told them, I said, it took me a while to acclimate with being put in the middle of an already made family
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
figuring out like where do I belong in this situation? How do I relate to people that already have a history for 11 years?
Hmm.
What does that look like? And that was scary. And I didn't know if I had the chops to do it as well because I felt inadequate in a lot of ways because I had chosen to not be a parent for so long. Then how am I going to do this? But that was a huge change in my life. And I will tell you this though, I realized how selfish of a person I was. And when I got stuck, my bonus kids, all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is what it's like to like be, just open and love on like in this way that I'd never loved before, and still to this day have never loved like this ever.
Yeah.
Um, that, but it was a huge change. It was,
Yeah.
in fact, the grits incident of 2018 was case in point where I just sat on the floor and just was like, I don't know if I can do this, and you know,
Yeah. Exactly. Like I was like, I don't think I can be I know we say stepmom, but we're bonus moms, but
bonus mom.
it was hard. And again, it's messy, but had to have that growth mindset of like, all right, we're just gonna figure this out and roll with it.
Yeah. They like they say, with anything, nothing comes with a manual. Nothing.
Yeah.
And we're not but I also am a huge firm believer that we have like this knowledge inside of us that we just, we can tap into it ourselves by finding different ways of getting to it. We work with coaches, we work with people, and I think that that's the key with change is you don't have to do it alone,
Mm-mm.
and you don't have to be trying to figure it out yourselves. I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, I've already done the research for you. Allow me, if you will, to take the things that I have learned over the, my lifetime, but especially the past 13 years. Allow me to use that to get you on the super speed highway so you don't have to spend 13 years going through it. But I think a lot of people, especially, Michelle, you see this probably a lot with people who lost their jobs. They come to you and they're like, I need some help. I don't know what to do. And then you say, okay, well, then this is my fees, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, oh, um, I don't want to spend money doing that. It's like, well, invest in, and because you don't have to do it alone and figure it out.
Yeah. And the more that you sit unemployed, the more money that you're gonna dip into savings and so that think of the future.
I think it's the faith thing, right? Like what Desiree said earlier, it's about the faith of this can change, and that things are possible.
Mhm.
That's what really is holding you back. It's not the money. It's not the paying for the coach. I mean, it's maybe a smidge, but that's not really what it is. It's is this really going to work?
Look,
Can
yeah.
I really change? I don't know. Desiree, what do you think about that?
No, I was gonna like kind of lead into like what does a growth mindset sound like? And going back to what you just said, Dory, I think something was said to me in coach training is we invest in things that we perceive like that we find valuable, right? Like if we want something, we will find a way to pay for it. And some for some people it's fancy cars, for some people it's chocolate donuts, for some people it is, a screen and
Louis Vu-
porch.
the Louis Vuitton bag.
Yeah. And for some people it is coaching. And but like there are I remember having the conversation with somebody a couple months ago, and it was like, well, this is the way this is going to play out. And I was like, between you and this certainty of how things are going to go, there are a million different ways that this could come, like change, right? There are so many factors that we don't even know could come, so for us to approach this with certainty. And so like just be open to the possibility of things shifting or things change not being the way that you instead of cultivating your certainty and putting on your certainty shoes, then let's explore and be curious and have build the confidence in ourselves to figure that out, because that's really where our true power lies, is not
Love
in
that.
this absolute certainty everything's going to go my way. It's can I figure it out no matter what happens?
Hmm.
I love that.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes that takes like pushing yourself out of growth is uncomfortable and scary. And that's why a lot of people just want to stay swimming in the pool of certainty. This is the way that life is. And I've my sister always tells me like, we just get more rooted in our, in our beliefs, and like we're just not going to change the older we get. And I'm like, I don't buy that as absolute truth. I really don't. People can change at any age. Um,
Whether they want to is another thing.
yes. Yeah. And
Because
I,
misery
I
loves company.
misery does love company. But I don't buy this crap of like I'm too old to change. I just don't.
No. I feel like that is a huge thing that holds people back, especially when they get to be midlife, right? It's like I'm too old. There's not enough time. I've wasted so much time in my
Mhm.
life, all of those different things, and so they just kind of stay put. And the question is, then what's holding? Why? You've still got another half of your life to live. Do you want it? Do you want like what it? I don't know. Yeah, it's so freeing when you realize that you at any age you can still change and imagine doing something midlife with all the knowledge that you already have. It's powerful. I believe we're more powerful the older we get, because we have so much experience behind us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I remember when I moved to the States and my friends back home were like, I cannot believe you moved. And I was just like, why? Well, I couldn't do it. And I'm just like, why can't you do it? Oh, because this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, there's just so many excuses you want to give. You really could do it. You just choose not to. And then I hear you bitch and complain how, oh, England's so boring and it's so dull and grey and people are always pissed off and miserable and la la la. And I'm just like, well, move. Go move to Spain. Go move somewhere else where the sun shines and you can be happy. Oh no, I can't do. Don't tell me you can't do it because people do it. People move from countries to countries and they can, if you're in the teaching profession, that's very easy to do. Very easy to do. Oh, and so it's just kind of like, you want to say that you can't do it, but you really can because other people have done it, but you choose not to because you want to give all the excuses.
So, okay. So one kind of door opening to this is, and I just had a wacky um, analogy pop in my head is like just try it on for size. Like you're at TJ Maxx and you just take a bunch of outfits to the fitting room to see if it fits, right? So try moving to Spain for a year and see what happens. Like that is taking a step towards the growth mindset. You don't have to commit your whole self, your whole life. You know, I would think maybe you'd be crazy if you're like, I'm going to live the rest of my days in Spain. I've lived my whole life in the in the UK, and I'm going to move to Spain next year, and I'm never moving anywhere again. Like, no, just take the
Go
outfit to
for
the dressing room and try it on and see how
it.
it fits. And
And if
you
it
know what?
doesn't, and if it doesn't fit, you can always go back.
Yeah. And if you decide that you don't like hard pants, then just go get some yoga pants, right?
Or
So,
or even try this for size. How about saying it the opposite direction? See how that feels. I'm going to stay in this marriage with this person the rest of my life until the day I die.
Oh,
And feel how that feels. If that feels like really, really bad, and that feels like it's like, oh, maybe it's time to look at something different.
hmm.
mm,
Wow.
I was talking to my sister about something that might be brewing in my life. And she goes, you're talking about this like it's terminal. Like you're never going to have another opportunity for something else to grow in this and change." And I was like, "Oh, look at you coaching me. Don't send me a bill, Shelley."
We love Shelley. Hi, Shelley.
Funny.
She doesn't listen to our podcast enough. All these strangers, not strangers, but like, a lot of us are in our power core groups. We get questions and all the time. I've had a number of people be like, I want to call in and ask out questions. I'm like,
Call
we
it.
have a feedback form, or send us a voice memo and email it to us at lifecoachesunfiltered@gmail.com.
Call
So
the
if
hotline. So are we ready for the uncomfortable question?
absolutely,
No. Yes.
are we ever ready?
Okay. Where in your life are you secretly believing that growth isn't possible for you?
I mean, I'll answer this. I talked about it in the pre-show commentary is I have like I'm tired and I have some I need to change make some lifestyle changes. And I know I have done this before and I need to clean up my eating and get moving again. But I don't remember ever being this tired or this like run down and it scares me. But I'm like, I have done this before, but there's this doubt that it's gonna stick. I always fall off the wagon because donuts are delicious. Only certain donuts. The
Oh,
sunflower from Oh Sarah Donuts or Sarah, whatever, Sarah Donuts is the best. That
Oh,
thing is
Sarah, I
amazing.
passed by there. Okay.
Oh,
what
um,
about you, Dory?
yeah.
Um, well, speaking is has been my dream for a very, very long time. In fact, I can get very choked up when I talk about doing public speaking. And so I had hired a coach to help me find paid speaking, gigs and things like that. And I actually have one coming up. It's not paid, but it's a speaking gig, and for myself, go, how am I going to memorize this? How am I going to, it just, all of these things start coming up in my own head. Like, I know that this is what I was born to do, but now that this is where also too, y'all, where you get closer to your dream starts getting closer to an actual reality. Like, I've been dreaming this for 5 years maybe, and now I'm this close. I'm on the cusp of things really starting to happen, and more fears start like coming in and going, like, oh, the thought of memorizing a speech did not terrify me 3 years ago, and now it's like, oh, I'm too old. I'm in menopause. That's what happens. We don't remember shit anymore because we got blah, 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 And so for me, that's the big thing, I think, is just that piece of that going, now that it's close, can I really do this? And I have to just tap into and my friends who support me and my belief systems and go, that's not true. If anything, I know that I'm someone. I took improv years ago, and by the way, I'm taking a comedy class starting in September. So I am always challenging myself in that way to get better at speaking. Um, so I have to go, no, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is my purpose. It's my passion. And if I get up on stage and just get up there and have to wing it sometimes, then that's what I'll do. I'll just speak from my heart. I'll just open up to whatever the universe wants me to say, and the words will just come out. It's just the way it goes. So,
Mhm.
what about you?
All right, so I'm gonna say it's my business. So I know that my I will say the women's side of my business has been growing, which has been great. The emerging adults, it's there, it's in sprinkles. I really would like that to grow a little bit more, but I'm like, how? And I keep on going back and forth, like, should I reach out? I really want to reach out to universities and colleges and stuff like that, but I'm just like that. And again, this plays in my head. So, we're not perfect here, because we always go back and forth. And I was like, who can I reach out to at colleges? And I'm just like, oh, they're probably going to think what I'm doing is stupid
Hmm.
and whether it's going to be worthwhile. And they're just probably going to say no to me. But I believe that I do need to help these emerging adults because they are struggling. But in my head, I'm just kind of like, well, how am I going to do that? And, I need this business. I want my business to grow. But so I'm in this back and forth of, I know it could work, but how could it work? But then they may think it's stupid.
I get that.
So, it's hard. It's
It is hard.
hard. It's hard.
Starting a business is way harder than I ever thought. And it selling something that you create is exponentially harder
Mm.
because you're so close to it, you're so invested in it. It's so personal.
It's your baby.
And
Yeah.
it's also skill sets that some of us, like for myself, that's not something I'm naturally, sales and marketing part of a business was like, I don't know. I thought when I built it, they would come. And
We all thought that. Don't
I
worry.
like I would like hung up my hey, I'm a coach now and just was like, where is everybody? Having to learn because when you're starting out, you're a one for me anyway, I was a one person, I was my accountant, I was everything. And it takes a lot of chops, especially day in, day out when the phone isn't ringing just keep going. I got to do this. This is what I am believe that we are here to do this. And so you just have to just keep reminding yourself that this is why we're here. This is it. This is the purpose. This is and the who may change a little bit throughout the evolution of what this is, but the main driver behind everything is to help people. And when I can remember that about whether it's my speaking, my coaching, whatever it is that I'm doing, even in the supermarket, smiling at someone, that's what keeps me like kind of like focused and on the course and just going, nope, this is it. This is it.
Yeah. Making that difference. That's priceless. Michelle, do you want to talk about your offer for
Oh,
folks?
yes, I do. So I will have a free download for everyone. That it's all about growth mindset. So, as we've talked about, do you have a fixed mindset or do you have a growth mindset? And there'll be a little workbook that you can go and you can look at some of the words that I have in there. Do you say these often and how can you change it? And there's literally a word that you can use to change it. And I won't put the spoilers out. And then you can kind of like check in on yourself. So again, just follow the workbook. It's free. So you just need to download it and yeah, just want to get everyone in that growth mindset. But I know some people don't want to be in a growth mindset, but for the people who's like, yeah, I want to do something. I want to do something different. Just download it and see what happens.
Awesome. And we'll put the link in the show notes. All right. Closing quote roundup. Anybody want to start off?
Okay.
Hmm.
This is from Thomas Jefferson. I feel so Thomas Jefferson, who tried a lot of things. If you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done.
Yes. I'll do Nelson Mandela.
Love it.
You either win or you learn.
Hmm.
Mm. That's reframing, I don't want to say failure, but having a different type of success. Maybe
Yeah.
you're successful in learning instead
Mhm.
of what your goal was. Um, I've I have my notes up from Hidden Potential by Adam Grant, which is a great book if you haven't read it. Becoming a creature of discomfort can unlock hidden potential in many different types of learning.
Hmm.
And it's really about I mean, that whole book is all about mindset and stories of people who, against all odds, found this hidden potential that they didn't know was inside of them.
Put it in the
Love
show
it.
notes so people can
Yeah.
I will put it in the show notes. Yeah.
for the
Uh,
book.
the link to the book, the bookie
Yeah.
book. So Dory, do you want to talk about what we're talking about next in the next episode?
So the next episode, we are going to be, oh, shoot. Sorry, my laptop did something weird. Hold on. Stop apologizing already.
What?
Stop saying I'm sorry. Stop apologizing. See, I said I was sorry because my laptop did something glitchy. I'm sorry. Stop apologizing. Do you apologize too much? If you do, please listen to this episode coming up next
Yes.
week. Or not
Yes.
next week, 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. We're in every other week podcast. We got to keep it on this cadence. It's
Oh yeah, if we did it every week. Oof,
I
oof.
know, man. We need that week of production.
Yeah.
Because
Back end
we're a
stuff.
three-woman show, so we We don't
Listen,
have a crew helping us,
uh,
so
yeah, there's no major sponsors or yeah, we're doing this all
Yet,
ourselves.
yet.
Yes.
yet.
That's the growth mindset. Yet.
We do this out of love, a love for
Do.
y'all and love of each other. So we will
Yes.
see you guys in 2 weeks. Until
Yeah.
then,
Have a
keep
great
growing.
Bye.
week. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Life Coaches Unfiltered. If you love this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, or follow us on social media. Got a question you've been afraid to ask? Send it our way at lifecoachesunfiltered@gmail.com. Until next time, keep growing, keep questioning, and stay unfiltered.